Okay, people are coming in, but let's roll. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the CI Chit Chat. Mitchell Hora here with you, where we are talking CI, which is carbon intensity. And on the farm, think of that as your carbon footprint per unit of outcome or per bushel for most of us as we're talking corn and soybeans. And our carbon footprint per bushel is important because our footprint is part of the supply chain's carbon footprint for these variety of different efforts to decarbonize or become more sustainable. The main one we're talking about is creating low carbon biofuel, so low carbon ethanol, biodiesel, SAF, and the opportunity to decarbonize those biofuels is being driven by the 45Z tax credit, which has been law for 3.5 years now. Tax credits are absolutely being generated, they're being sold, they're being monetized. Things are absolutely happening there, have been for quite a while, and things continue to go on right now. The 45Z tax credit generates tax credit, or it's an opportunity for biofuel producers to generate tax credits for calendar year 2025 through 2029. So it's been going, it's going right now. Things are happening. And the IRS did write the rule in February, and that rule said that feedstock will play a role. But we're waiting for an updated feedstock calculator to calculate the CI reductions coming from the farm, and we're waiting for updates to the technical guidelines. And those technical guidelines have been the big news here recently. If you've been following the Chit Chat the last couple of weeks, the USDA first published their preliminary technical guidelines back in January of 2025. So Biden administration, Biden USDA wrote those initial technical guidelines and published them back in January of 2025. And now the updated and final version of the technical guidelines was submitted to the reviewers in the Office of Management and Budget at the White House. It was submitted on April 2nd, and it is in review right now. That review is technically a 30 to 90 day review process, is generally speaking, but hopefully we get some clarity and more like that 45 or 60 day type of time frame. So we'll see. So I just pulled up the website because part of the review process is that the reviewers in the Office of Management and Budget can select companies to do EO 12866 meetings. And these EO 12866 meetings are closed room. It's on record, but it's closed room, 30-minute phone calls, teleconference meetings, where companies are selected to present to the reviewers and discuss their points and kind of, discuss points of the proposed rule or of the pending rule. Continuum was selected to have the very first one of these meetings in this cycle. We had ours last Monday. It went super well. We had 3 folks on the meeting from the Office of Management and Budget, and we had 2 folks on from USDA. And these folks from USDA I know, and I know that they've been very involved in the detailed writing of the rule and whatnot, so it's great to have them on. And essentially, it was me giving them a 20-minute spiel about our recommendations, insights on data, from a high level, of course, plus some of the details about what we're seeing on my own family farm or on my COO Brad's farm. We kind of talk about our own story and how 45Z is going to impact us. And we really were pushing on, make sure that the updated CI calculator rewards farmer innovation, gives enough CI points to the specific practices to actually encourage people to participate and adopt. For a quick example, we said, hey, you got to make sure that things like cover crops are attributed enough CI reduction points to get people to adopt cover crops because the tax credit pie is big enough to actually make it worth it. And for example, I said, hey, under the current Department of Energy model, Cover crops typically generate 10 to 14 CI points of reduction. That's very significant. If you whittle that down and only give farmers, say, 5 points, it's just not going to move the needle enough at the ethanol plant, therefore not generate enough tax credit money so that as that money is split up amongst the players, it's just not exciting enough to get the masses of farmers to change and adopt new practices. But if you reward farmers with significant enough point reduction, I think you'll see a lot of change. So that was just one quick example. But we also specifically said, hey, make sure that you actually include fertilizer rate, because that's the biggest driver of on-farm greenhouse gas emissions is nitrogen fertilizer, the product and the rate that's being applied at. So that's important. And then also we advocated, of course, for the inclusion of manure, because in the old USDA version of the calculator, manure was not included. We had advocated for yield, because you got to have yield included. It's kind of the whole point of calculating your carbon footprint per bushel, and that was not included before. And then we, of course, were pushing hard for book and claim, and we've been pushing hard for that the whole time. Been very consistent on that. That's where we see this program making as big of an impact to the soil health movement as possible, and driving as much real financial opportunity for all the stakeholders involved, specifically the farmers. We view that book and claim as the way to go. So we'll see what happens. And we actually did get a question. I shared this last week, but want to iterate again, because it is super rare that the reviewers ask a question. From everything that I've heard, everybody that I've talked to on these meetings, it is very rare that they ever respond or ask a question. And we did get a question, and it was a really good one. It was about impact that this program can make, and basically, would it actually incentivize change? Or are people basically already doing this, and this is kind of just government, printing money for the select, folks that can participate? And it's like, no, if you do the rules correct, the way that we said, have a good CI calculator that rewards farmers correctly, use book and claim so that this is open and collaborative, you'll absolutely create practice change at big scale and create real meaningful impact into the American ag sector. So it was great. And we, of course, added additional detail and data behind that, but it was the right kind of question. And these folks are looking to make sure that the rule gets done correctly to actually make meaningful impact and not just fall short. And hopefully things go the right way. But was just looking. They do have meetings on the calendar through the 8th. So I believe that is Friday. So they have a couple meetings here today, and then they've got a couple day break in the meeting schedule, and then they have some meetings on Friday, and that's the last of them that they have scheduled. So 11 meetings in this round of these EO 12866 meetings, which is not that many. When this was happening for the IRS 45Z rule, there was quite a bit more. I think maybe, 27, 28 meetings, somewhere in that kind of range. So there was more then, but of course that IRS rule would have been a higher level thing, and this is a little bit more nuanced, a little bit more in the weeds. But anyway, so they had a bunch of meetings. They had a couple meetings yesterday, a couple meetings scheduled for today, and then a meeting for Friday. Let's see, that is with Marquise, the major ethanol producer in Illinois. So that's good. Definitely a lot of friendlies having the meetings. Growth Energy, American Carbon Alliance, Renewable Fuels Association, Illinois Corn Growers. I believe it was United Soybean or U.S. Soybean. So a lot of good folks that would be talking a lot of the same talk that we're talking. So definitely a good thing, and hopefully they don't take any more of these EO meetings, and they wrap things up this week with the review meetings, and this rule can be going live soon. But we'll see. We'll watch it very closely. So that's the gist of that. So waiting for, in this rule, my understanding is that the updated calculator is in this rule as well. So updated calculator, details of the audit protocol and data collection and whatnot. And we anticipate that when this USDA rule clears review, that we will have all the clarity needed to hit go at a major level with our CI certification program again, getting your 2025 crop verified. We'll know if the USDA wants us to be mass balance or book and claim. And there will be, of course, some steps at the IRS and Department of Energy to integrate this rule, but it seems that the pieces are in place to be able to make that happen. So we'll keep moving forward. So it'll be an opportunity to get the 2025 crop verified, get the 2026 crop verified, get the data put together so that then as the ethanol plants are ready to start integrating your data or your CI certificates, you're sitting there ready to rock and roll. So we're getting close. Things are happening. But let me change gears just a little bit and talk about Topsoil Summit. The early bird deadline for the Topsoil Summit is this Friday. So if you are coming to the Topsoil Summit June 10th, make sure that you register by Friday and use the code 45Z to get the discount. Let me send the link right here. We've really been able to round out an awesome event. Our VP of Marketing, Diana, has done a tremendous job putting together this year's event. I think it's going to be absolutely great. We have keynotes by Tom Vilsack, former governor, former Secretary of Ag, current leader of the World Food Prize. And I mentioned, this USDA rule. Well, the preliminary rule was basically a creation of Tom Vilsack. He was really a key person that made it happen. Tom, and then some of his key folks, Bill Hohenstein and Robert Bonney, and some of these guys that are just really good guys. They helped to get it, started, and now, some of their folks, following on to get this thing across the finish line. It's looking good. We did just recently secure that we have Iowa Secretary of Ag Mike Nag joining us at this year's event as well. We've got our auditors will be there, CPA firms will be there, insurance companies, tax credit brokers. So really just, again, those key enabling players around 45Z, they will be there. We've got our farmer panel that's always a key hit, an awesome farmer panel talking soil health, talking research and development, talking 45Z, of course, but a wide range of size of farms, a diverse geography of farms, throughout the Midwest. Just trying to make sure that this event is, gets something for everybody and as inclusive as we can make it. But it's gonna be an awesome event, and we've got some great sponsors that are supporting this event as well. Really coming together. So anyway, this is the week to get registered. I put the link in the chat, and so make sure you get registered here this week if you want to get the discount. We do have a block of rooms as well. So if you're coming and wanting to need a hotel room, I believe there are still rooms available in our hotel block. You got to call them and utilize our block to get in on that. But Topsoil Summit coming together super well. You definitely do not want to miss it. That's going to be really where we're unveiling some of the latest on infrastructure that we're building out, partnerships that we're announcing, just really key things going on there. So don't miss it. But okay, wanted to also hit on planting and just kind of a quick update there, and then we'll get back to work. Make sure that, again, you are documenting everything going on the farm. And one of the tougher things to document is to prove that you're no-till. How do you prove that you didn't do something? Well, take pictures. Just as you're planting each field, take a picture, where you're documenting that you're planting. Just take it on your smartphone. You don't need to do anything with the picture right now. Just take a picture, because on your smartphone, it has a geotag on it, a GPS location, and it has a timestamp of date and time. And take a picture where you can kind of see the soil and stuff to show that, you know, you're planting. So you got record of the day that you're planting that field, and you've got somewhat of a visual of the residue, the cover crop, that kind of thing. And just make sure that you've got just that additional data layer. It'll just help you out down the road. Other than that, make sure that you're slowing down to plug in the field name, farm field names, you know, your management practice that you are implementing. Plug that stuff into your tractor monitor as you're going, just to keep clean data. It's going to help you out a lot down the road. It's that data that is critical in order to pass the audits. Okay, so remember, you got to document what you did: planting, fertilizer, tillage, cover crop, manure, harvest. You got to document what you did, and you got to upload evidence to prove to a third-party auditor that you did what you say that you did. Shape files, receipts, photos. If you have government docs or whatever of other cost share programs that you're in, any of that stuff can be helpful. One of the things I need to look into it a little bit further, and we'll probably get some stuff sent out about it. But Farmers for Soil Health has they've just opened up the enrollment for their cost share program. It's for cover crops, new or so first-time cover croppers or multi-year cover croppers. It's $35 an acre cost share. It's stackable, not stackable with EQIP or CSP or RCPP, but stackable with state cost share programs, stackable with carbon programs or 45Z. It's a pay for practice program, and it's part of it was part of the old Climate Smart Commodities grants. I don't know, what was it, $3.5 billion, something like that the Biden USDA put out, and then it all got cut with Trump. Now some of these programs are resurrecting and coming back to life, and this Farmers for Soil Health program is one of them. So $35 an acre. I think farmersforsoilhealth.com or something like that. Let me see. Yeah. So take a look. I'm looking into it just to go through the process anyway of knowing like what would you have to go through, because there are some government documents and paperwork that you've got to upload, but it looks like it's not too tough to be able to do. As far as like the paperwork and compliance component, and pretty solid money. I think it caps at like 2,000 acres, but I mean, geez, as far 2,000 acres per entity or per farm, so pretty substantial deal. So definitely take a look at it. We're going to look into it a little bit more here at Continuum and probably get some material pushed out, and just make sure that as many people as applicable have access to these type of programs. So pretty cool deal. Had a buddy that my buddy Evan sent it over to us, and looks like it could be a sweet opportunity. So anyway, I think that is it for today. So I'll let y'all go, but things are still moving. We knew that it was probably going to be a little bit slow here for a couple weeks, but be safe out there planting, and hopefully we get some big movement yet this month, but we'll see what happens. So thanks everyone. Have a good week. We'll catch you next time.